All right, y'all. We are now officially done with the first week of 2026. And I don't know about you guys, but is it just me or does it feel like a supernova just went off in the energy matrix that we all feel and experience in our daily lives? Like, I don't know what it is per se, but it's like this year has started off so hot and heavy in a way that 2024 never started off like this. 2020 never started off like this. This year is a completely different animal. And how did we start off the year? We started off blowing the hell out of Venezuela and capturing Maduro. We started off figuring out that we are being completely bled out and dried by fraud, which was something that was supposed to be handled last year but didn't. We start off finding out that, oh, we're about to go blow the hell out of Iran again, as if we have anything of value over there. And we start off with all of this insanity going on all across the country, in Minnesota, in Columbus, Ohio, and all of these other different places. And everything just seems like we are in the process of watching a supernova go off. Like, the energy right now, it feels like the Greek god Zeus is just out there raining down lightning bolts, just pure raw power. It feels like this year is the year where the final battle is going to occur. Now, again, some of you might not feel that way. Some of you might go like, well, it's just another year, just, crazy stuff all around. But when you really take the time to sit down, analyze, and think about it all, that's when you start to realize, no, this is not like any other year we've experienced. This is not like all the craziness that we have experienced in the past, you know? And here's another thing. I'm a proud card carrying member of Gen Z. And there are two different versions, as I call them, within Gen Z. You have the 1997 to 2003 version of Gen Z, the version 1, and then you have the 2004 and older group, version 2. And for the longest time, that version 1, that 97 to 03 group, considered version 2, that 04 to, well, let's say 2010 group, essentially persona non grata. Like, my version looked at them as like, oh, these, crazy, stupid kids, they don't know nothing. Like, we just need to worry about ourselves, focus on our side of the generation, and, just kind of leave them out to pasture. Now that the 2004, 2005 people are starting to really become of age and really starting to essentially become themselves, they're coming into their true form. Now that we've reached that point, I'm starting to see the shift in my group where they're just like, hey, why are we gatekeeping them? Why are we keeping them out of the loop? This is still our group. And one of the things I did was I went and watched the Matrix 2 in particular, where Neo goes and meets the Oracle, and she's like, "Well, my God, look at you." And Neo's all of a sudden asking all these questions now that he understands, what his purpose is, what his reason for existence is. And he's over here asking the Oracle, he's like, "Well, now that I understand everything, the question is like, how can I trust you?" And the response is, it's a pickle, but in the end, all you can do is make up your own damn mind of whether to accept what I'm telling you or to reject it. But the one thing that I felt like was really profound in that scene was, we're all here for the same reason. We all have the same agendas, we all have the same goals. And looking at that, I'm just like, the one thing I feel like that needs to happen within our generation is consolidation. I think we need to stop gatekeeping each other. I think we need to really combine forces, join together, consolidate, and really force this fourth turning, this change to occur. Because, a lot of analysts like Alex Jones and some other people say that Gen Z is the forcing mechanism behind the fourth turning. And they're right. But when you look at Gen Z as a generation as a whole, for the longest time, we were very divided, very polarized. But recently, you're starting to see this sort of unity, this sort of, coalescing, this coming together. And I know that not everybody's going to agree with me and see the same thing, but the fact of the matter is that this is the time where it is make or break. It's not cutting year. It is, you're either on the ball or you're going to crash out. And you're starting to see the crash out everywhere, especially within the movement. You're starting to see people crash out like Bongino, Loomer, Cat Turd, and all of these other, groups that for the longest time were the ones who were essentially making the rules, dictating the narrative and stuff. And I know they're not Gen Z, but but hear me out. Just take this ride with me. You're seeing for the longest time these people that were essentially household names, established figures, completely crash and burn because they have completely lost their objectivity of what's really going on. They have completely lost sight of the ball. They don't get it. They don't have the ability to adapt. Don't you understand that? Because they cannot adapt, because they are stuck in this perpetual state of being where they're at, essentially the bootlicker. They love the taste of rubber, don't they? Because they cannot stop licking the boot, and they've been licking the boot for 10 years now. They don't know what to do. They're crashing out. And my message to my generation, Gen Z, is look, this year's going to be crazy. This year's going to have a lot of changes in your life. Everything that you thought was going to be it in 2025, like, for example, you got a lot of my friends, were moving places and stuff, really changing. They were thinking like, okay, this is it. This is the place. I'm just going to tell you right now, that rule book, everything you thought was it last year, that's out the window now. Because what you thought was it ain't actually it. Now, if you're someone who thought ahead and planned everything out and took into consideration all of these, different variables, see, you're the ones who are going to be calling the shots. You're the ones who are going to be giving the orders to all the ones that made impulsive moves and put themselves completely out of position. And and I can say I'm one of those guys that I feel like is going to be the new guy calling all the shots because I saw which way the wind was blowing and I adjusted appropriately and properly. But I also feel a sense of duty and obligation to some of these other guys that didn't move properly to go like, okay, hey, look, you made a mistake. You're going to have to be stuck with it for now. But if you start now and listen and pay attention and start making all the necessary moves to become better, then 3 to 6 months from now, you might be fortunate enough to be able to completely, let's just say, change your scenery, put yourself in a better position. There is still time. But all I got to say is like this year, and if you're lucky, maybe you get the first 6 months of next year to really make your move, because after that, you got to be basically grounded and ready to go. And frankly, I don't even know if you have that time anymore just because of where we're at. So everything's going insane. Everything's becoming hyper accelerated. It's going faster. We're past the point of no return. We've already fallen off the cliff. We're on the way down. And the question I feel like everybody needs to be asking yourselves is, am I in the right position? Am I in the right position? Am I prepared for the final battle? What's eventually going to come? And it's going to come this year. In fact, I would say my prediction would be sometime by the summer. Like you're gonna see everything. All the events we have been witnessing and watching over the past 10 years, you're going to see it all happen in one blast, one compressed blast happening all at once. And if you're not centralized, if you're not, in the zone, if you're not on your toes on the A game, being proactive, then you're going to crash out. And you can crash out from completely unforced errors too. Like, I mean, this is a year where, like, people, a lot of people are going to crash out in the most dramatic ways possible. And that's really kind of why I'm issuing this warning, kind of, implanting this advice to everybody, because I feel like this is something that needs to be said. So, the bottom line is this: if you're not on your game, if you're not getting the most accurate information out there, if you're not listening to all the right people, and you're not giving yourself enough breathing space to make adjustments and to really position yourself ahead, not saying it's going to be perfect. Do not expect perfection in any of this. Okay. Give yourself room to make mistakes. It's like when you're driving and you're hauling ass, and you're kind of weaving through. The one thing you always want to do is you want to make sure you give yourself enough space and keep your situational awareness high, so that way you can make maneuvers, so that way you don't plow into the ass end of somebody. That's what you really need to be doing. That's how you need to play 2026. Take risks, throw the ball deep, but also make sure that you have enough confidence, enough of an educated guess at the least, that if I throw that pass, I'm going to land it. And if it's not completely successful, at the very least, it won't hurt me in the long term. And yeah, am I starting to see a lot of that within my generation? Yes, but on the other hand, I'm essentially implanting this warning out to the rest of my generation, the ones that haven't seen it yet, that hey, you know, playtime is over. Back from Fantasyland. Now it's kind of time to get down to the nitty gritty and grind, and really pay attention to yourself. So there's that. This year is just crazy. It's going to get crazier. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Question is, are you?